Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the OD Sportscast. I'm your host, Dak, and we are back after I would like to say 2 weeks. We forgot to record last week's episode. We were pretty busy, both of us, respectfully. Yes, we do. I will start off. I'll start off with the NFL draft, where that had been kicked off. Because NFL has been had their annual draft that has happened like what, like 4 days ago, over the weekend. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go based off of ESPN here. I'm just gonna give you guys my thoughts on like which players were the great picks, some questionable ones. Only covering the first round, of course. I don't see the need to cover the other rounds, but just first round alone. We'll start off with the top 5 picks. Fernando Mendoza to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that was really an obvious one, just because we kind of knew for like a month that all this hype of Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders was eventually going to happen. So to see the Raiders finally pick up Fernando Mendoza is great to see, and I'm hoping that maybe this could they're most likely going to bench him, obviously for maybe the first 2 years of his career, maybe, or just this season while Kirk Cousins plays out there, so he can get the adjustments, and Kirk can kind of mentor him in the long run. But I mean, Las Vegas as a whole, I wouldn't say that they're ruled out of making the wild card, but that is a strong reach. I think they would still do some sort of like failing season before they ever reach the wild. But they're heading in the right direction. I will give them that. They are heading definitely in the right direction. Yeah, yes, definitely. That was their first round pick, so congrats to Las Vegas. Hopefully you guys are going in the right direction. I mean, and it's fair to say that, even last year's draft, when they had a high top 5 pick, they went and got Ashton Genty, and everyone was like, well, why do we need to address the running back room when we need to address our quarterback problem? And then now the Raiders actually addressed their quarterback problem in Fernando Mendoza, and I guess now the pick for Ashton Genty actually makes more all the sense because they're actually building an actual good offense after years of struggling on the offense. So we'll see how the Raiders go in that direction. And my first confusing pick here was David Bailey to the Jets. I could see why the Jets needed to address, I guess, their defensive help or edge rusher help, but it kind of also makes no sense when you also have Will McDonald, and he was pretty good last season for the Jets, but I mean, of course, Jets being Jets, they're gonna still suck ass. So I mean, just to see, David Bailey being picked up by the Jets, I guess kind of makes sense, but I kind of would have went in the different direction if I were the Jets. I would have went in the direction of maybe kind of going for their O-line help, or like another wide receiver or anything above that. I don't know. David Bailey, interesting pick, but I don't know. He wouldn't be my first one off the board for the Jets. No. I mean, they're always going to be poverty like the Browns. So I mean, they're not going to really get anywhere, especially with picking up an edge rusher for with the second overall pick. But I guess they continue the trend of maybe bad picks. I don't know. We'll have to see how David Bailey plays. But this is where, now with the third overall pick, this is where I thought things got interesting in a good way for some teams. But Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals with the third overall pick, that's interesting, but it kind of makes sense just because James Conner is coming back from injury. We don't know if he'll be the same in Arizona's offense. I mean, yes, he's been great all around for Arizona for a long time, but if I were Arizona, I would have probably traded the pick. I would have traded to go further down in the draft and then possibly draft like Ty Simpson or something like that, and then have Jacoby Brissett, still starting but mentoring Ty Simpson while sitting on the bench. But yeah, we'll get to Ty Simpson later on. But I mean, I guess Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals, good for them. I thought he was going to fold to Tennessee. Tennessee then picking up Carnell Tate to address their wide receiver issue that they've been having, because their wide receiver room was pretty horrendous last season. Like they had, who did they have? They had probably, who was it? Calvin Ridley, who was suspended for like the first part of the season, comes back and plays, and then they had Tyler Lockett. Of course, he's a shell of his former self than he used to be in Seattle. And then he got cut later on in the season. So, I mean, I guess I could see how the Titans don't really have much in the way of wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, I would say, I guess to help find another weapon for Cam Ward, it makes sense. I would have went with addressing offensive help, like the offensive line, because they're still pretty trash. But yeah, I mean, good for them to address their wide receiver and all that. So pick number 5, Arvell Reese to the New York Giants. Actually, I would say pretty solid pick to bolster their defense, but that it kind of scratches my head a little bit, just because what are the Giants going to do? They already got rid of Dexter Lawrence to get this to get a pick. I think it was pick 10 in the first round. They traded with who was it? Oh, I'm forgetting. Oh no. No, yeah. Who was it that they got the pick from? It was Cincinnati. Okay, yeah, okay, makes sense now. That kind of scratches my head just a little bit, just because what are the Giants going to do? You guys have Oregon alumni Kayvon Thibodeau. You guys have Abdul Carter, and you guys also have Brian Burns that you guys I think got last offseason. And so it kind of I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, well, what's going on here? I mean, I can understand that you guys are bolstering the defense, but let's be honest here. You guys are going to have to give up something in return, because there's just no way that I could see the Giants keeping all those guys, especially with how the cap room is going to be looking like probably this next offseason. So they're bound to give up someone in a trade or releasing or whatever. I mean, it all just determines. So good for the Giants picking up Arvell Reese. My Kansas City Chiefs then had traded up in the draft. We had sent our 10th overall, not 10th overall, excuse me. It was the 9th pick. Yes, that is correct. Thank you. Was it? No, it was 9th. Yeah, it was 9th. Yeah, you got it. Somewhere in there. We got someone to address our cornerback help in Mansour Delaney. Honestly, I'm a fan of this pick, and that's not biased of me being a Chiefs fan. I say that I think this is a good pick for Kansas City just due to after we got rid of Trent McDuffie and Watson, and they went to the Rams on those contracts, because we had lost a lot during this offseason. We had gained some, but lost a lot. And so when Duffy and Watson went to Los Angeles, signed with them, it kind of left an open air of who's going to be our corners now, because we have a track history of not extending our corners for some reason, and I'm still mad about that. I don't know why the fuck we didn't do that, but I mean, to kind of address that issue, we got Mansour Delaney. I'm a fan of this. I mean, I've seen a little bit of his clips from when he played in LSU. He's a good lockdown corner, and he could work really well with the Kansas City defense 100%. It's just a matter of time if how well he would fit into that. And because Kansas City is actually, as the way I view it, is I feel like since Mahomes is also coming back from his injury, Kelsey's re-extended, but he's probably not going to play as great. Then we have Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. I think Kansas City next season is the team to look out for. Like, you cannot doubt them. And I'm not saying that because, Mahomes is returning it or anything like that, but I'm just saying entirely. Like, we later got a offensive line help, I believe, and Peter Woods to kind of help Mahomes a little bit. But that was a 29th pick. But to see that, the Chiefs could be on a trajectory of being on a lookout next season, you definitely do not want to overlook them. 100%. Yes. We'll have to see how Mansour Delaney does. I mean, I guess the Browns kind of pinched themselves in the butt a little bit. Yeah, and I mean, I'll jump to the 9th pick real fast. They picked up a offensive tackle in Spencer Fragno. Interesting pick, I guess, to address their horrendous O line. But if you want to keep Myles Garrett happy, then I would address something on the on the defense. Like, I guess, yeah, their defense is pretty good as is, but I would have probably explored that a little bit more before jumping in and getting Spencer Fragno to bolster, I guess, their line, because I don't know where they were ranked last season in offensive lines, but it was probably down to the bottom 5. But we'll see what happens. I mean, the trade itself was interesting, and I mean, Kansas City, I guess, had been scouting Monster Delane for quite some time, and so it was like a kind of move where they're like, if we want to get our guy now, we have to get him now. And so they pulled the trigger, they did the trade, and next thing you know, we have Monster Delane, they got Spencer Fragno, and I guess good for them. But I mean, Shedeur Sanders is still developing at a interesting level for the Browns. A lot of people aren't fully on him with that one, but aren't fully ruling him out as the Browns starting quarterback. I don't really see Dylan Gabriel playing for the Browns. I could see him being traded or just sitting up as a backup. Like, yeah, sure, he played a few games last season, but I don't think it's going to be his team in the long run. I think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. And that's if Shedeur can actually not, overturn the ball and all these other things. So we'll see. Washington Commanders picking up Sony Styles. Honestly, good pick for Washington. They really need to address their linebackers, definitely, and especially with how their defense kind of crumbled in the second part of the season last season, kind of tells you something. And then you get the return of Jalen Daniels. I wonder how Jalen Daniels will do. It's only a matter of time, though, but I feel like Washington could be projected in the right way. But I am definitely not drafting Jalen Daniels in my fantasy this year. That was probably a mistake I should not have done. We got Jordan Tyson going into the Saints. Saints are making some good moves. I've been liking what the Saints have been doing. For people who have been seeing Tyler Shuck's game more or less recently, second leg of the season, he has had a great second leg of the season. He kept slinging the ball and all that, and I think New Orleans is just heading in the right direction entirely. It's only a matter of time that they could also make a wild card appearance, but I feel like I would say give it another season or so more, because they still got to build their offense first before they build their defense. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the pickup to get Travis Etienne Jr., that was a good one. So we'll see what happens with the Saints. We already talked about Spencer Fragno. The Giants' second round first overall pick. They got pick 10 in a trade with, I guess, nobody. I thought they traded. Was it Cincinnati? Oh, yeah. Cincinnati. They picked up Francis Magnoa. I haven't seen much of his game, but I guess to help protect, what's his name? To help protect Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart, as you guys have been seeing, it plays very recklessly for the Giants, and for the Giants to go out of their way to pick up Francis Magnoa. Gosh, it's hard to say the name, but I think that was good. It helps address their, offensive line help. Jackson Dart's got more cushioning to move in the pocket and run out and scramble, doing all the above. And, with the return of Malik Neighbors, anything can happen. I mean, maybe Malik Neighbors can't play the same, or maybe he can. Only a matter of time. So we'll see. It only just depends. But I would say this is a good pickup from the Giants. They did some great drafting, I would say, to make up for that trade for Dexter Lawrence. Cowboys also made a trade with Miami. I thought that was a weird one. The Cowboys got Caleb Downs, and then Miami got Kalen Proctor. Caleb Downs. Great pick for the Cowboys, but at the end of the day, still the Cowboys. I'm still going to laugh at their face and say that they're miserable. I mean, yes, this was a good spot for them to pick a safety up. But at the end of the day, it is the Cowboys, and I will still laugh my money all the way to the bank. Moving on. Alan Proctor picked up by Miami to, go with their, I guess, O-line help. I mean, it's not a bad pick in the long run, but when you've got when you need to address your wide receiving core and most of your defense because you guys gutted out your whole entire room after you had fired most of your coaching staff and Tua to go to Atlanta, that tells you something. I would have went and got Mekhi Lemon. Of course, Mekhi Lemon fell all the way to pick 20 for the Philadelphia Eagles. I would have went and got Mekhi Lemon, but you guys didn't do that. So it kind of leaves me scratching my head with where they're doing with this rebuild. Like Kalen Proctor, yeah, sure, isn't a bad pickup, but at the end of the day, you guys should have drafted Mekhi Lemon. That's how I see it. And then Kalen Proctor could have went to a different team. But yeah, I don't know. The damage has been done. Moving on. Here's where it's Go ahead. Yes. Ty Simpson going to the Rams, and this is a trade. Atlanta traded this pick to the Rams. Why are we picking up Ty Simpson when, here's how I look at it. Is originally why pick up Ty Simpson? I mean, yes, he's good, but it could also be a far reach. I'm not fully against this pick, but I'm more scratching my head in confusion. Because you have the reigning MVP, Matthew Stafford, on your team, and the Super Bowl is taking place next year in your guys' stadium, in which you guys are definitely Super Bowl favorites, especially after picking up our fucking corners from Kansas City. And so it kind of scratches my head of like, okay, why are we doing this? The other part that I could see is they're addressing that Matthew Stafford does not have much time left. He probably only has at least best one more this next season or the season after, and then that is it, because he is getting up there in age. But I guess if they really want to throw him into the pocket and all that, then they sure can. It is only a matter of time, though, to see what Ty Simpson's game is like, but I'm not fully against this pick. It's more of a scratching head confusion one, for sure. But yeah, you got thoughts on this Ty Simpson pick, Oliver, or what? Or okay, yeah. All right. Well, moving on. We're going to skip a couple picks down. Ruben Bain Jr. He was supposed to come. I've been seeing leading up to the draft for Kansas City that he was projected to come to us. But I was like, honestly, it could be a good pick, but I could also see how it would blow up in our face because not so long before the draft, he had some criminal issues going on. And I was then against the pick, and I was like, I don't think I want Ruben Bain anymore. But he's still a good edge rusher, 100%. He's like second best edge rusher in the class. So if we had picked him up, I wouldn't have been against it, but I would just frown upon that, he decided to get into the law before then. But yeah, not bad. I will talk about a former Oregon alumni in Sadiq. I'm guessing Oliver, since you used to go to University of Oregon, you might have seen Kenyon Sadiq play. What are your thoughts on him? Yeah. But I think it was a good pick. Especially it's the Jets. The Jets needed to address their offensive help, and this is in the right direction. And it kind of makes it maybe for their second overall pick for David Bailey. So picking up Kenyon Sadiq, I think, was a good choice. Their tight end room also has not been great in recent years, but Kenyon Sadiq can definitely help that. And I would say I'm a decently pretty big fan. So good for the Jets. Good for the Jets. And then, yeah, Mekhi Lemon to the Eagles. I'm sorry. What are we doing? Philadelphia. What are we doing? You guys... I am so confused by Philadelphia. Here's why. Philadelphia, I don't know if you've been seeing reports, have been saying that A.J. Brown is set to leave Philadelphia and go to guess where, Oliver? The New England Patriots. Of course, it's the Patriots. Yes. Mekhi Lemon, yeah, I guess address it while you can now. But they traded with Green Bay for this pick. And I'm just kind of scratching my head because if A.J. Brown's set to go to New England, and who in technicality is your wide receiver one? I'm not that stupid. Yeah, it's gonna be Devonta Smith, but you're more addressing your wide receiver two now since A.J. Brown's gonna be gone. Yes, it's a good lookout. It's a good lookout long run for the Patriots, but for the Eagles, I'm just scratching my fucking head. Yeah, I guess you were. I saw that Rich Eisen, who's covering the draft for ESPN had mentioned, like, yeah, the Eagles are drafting Mekhi Lemon to kind of help ease AJ Brown into staying instead of leaving to go to New England. And it's like, huh? Make that make sense. Like, make that make sense. Like, I can see Mekhi Lemon, sure, being a wide receiver too, but when you already have reports of an unhappy receiver already complaining to the media about not getting enough targets from your quarterback and all this other crap, and then going into the draft to get Mekhi Lemon, it really just scratches your head as a Philly fan. And I mean, good for them to add another wide receiver, but they are nowhere like no more a Super Bowl team like they were a few years ago after they beat my team. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I don't think it's looking great for Philadelphia. But I guess decent pick for them after they trade with Green Bay. No, yeah, it's only a matter of time. But yeah, that's enough of this year's draft. Go ahead. Yes, yeah, yes. That will be it for talking about the NFL for football for this time around. We'll see what happens. On to some other news before we cover the NBA playoffs. I got some news to share for you from Mr. Shan Sarania. Breaking news. The NBA is disciplining both Nikola Jokic and Julius Randle for their little scuffle that they did yesterday between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Jokic is fined $50,000 while Julius Randle is fined $35,000. What is your takeaway on both of these players getting fined? I mean, this is very little money for them as well. So I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll address it now while we're on the topic of it. I mean, this isn't Jokic's first scuffle this season that he's had with a player. So we'll start off with the first series that we're on the topic of right now, which is the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Minnesota is surprisingly blowing the Nuggets out of the water as the 6th seed. Have won the first two games. Denver then came back in game 3 to win game 3, and then the massive upset in game 4, and now Minnesota leads the series 3-1 against Denver. I mean, at this rate, Oliver, do we see Denver possibly being booted out of the first round? Yes. And it was reported. Go ahead. Yeah, game 6. You think Denver? You think Denver will come back to win games 5 and 6 and force maybe a game 7? Yes. Yeah. They made it to the. I think they made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. Triple double. Mm-hmm. Yeah, clutch up, and scoring 42 points and all that. Yeah, true. Very true. And I mean, Minnesota lost greatly, with Dante DiVincenzo, torn Achilles and is out for the rest of the playoffs. Yes. They're playing right now, and they're getting their ass handed to them by Boston. So Boston's about to, as we are currently recording this, of course, this will be posted later on. Yeah. As we're recording this, though, the score is 71-41, and Philadelphia is about to lose, and Boston will take a 3-1 lead in the series. All right. It did. Yes. Definitely. Curry's Curry, man. Can't doubt the shooting god. I can't doubt him. Who he makes the contact and then proceeds to yeah. It always doesn't work though. That game it did work though. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think, while we're on the topic of this, do you think that the Golden State Warriors are a quote unquote fading dynasty? It was. So you think he's gonna stay as a Warriors entire career? He's not gonna get traded. Okay. True. Now we get into the first round of each game. Do we want to start with the West or the East? So we'll start off with the first one. Thunder and Suns. The Thunder currently have a 3-0 lead and they're about to close out the series against the Suns. Do we see the Suns maybe putting in a fight for 1 or 2 games, or is it just completely over for Phoenix? Ooh, yes. He was limping that first game, and then he said, all right, I'm good. I can continue playing for Yeah. And while we're on the topic of it, he also is the first Blazer, or I think to tie Lillard in. Oh no, correction. It's Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson has the most points by a Trailblazer in their first 2 postseason games since 2000. The list in total includes Brandon Roy at 63 points, our very own franchise leader in points, Dame Dalla, at 49 points, and Scoot now also tying Dame at 49 points. So Scoot was on a ball in game 2. We'll get into that in just a second. Oliver, I will let you finish up with game 1. Go right up. Game 2, man. I'm happy that Scoot went off in this first playoff game. Like, he didn't do so great game 1, but he really showed up in game 2 when we needed him the most. So I mean, good for him. He's still developing. Yes, we did. Yep. With our friend Tyler. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, man, Scoot, I'm sorry to say, you should have just kept your mouth shut. You know, shouldn't have been talking all that trash to cause a technical foul. No. That's nuts. Wow. I didn't know that. The momentum. Okay. And then this isn't the first game that Portland has blown a lead. Like, it's the most Blazer thing that we're known for doing. Oh my god. Okay. Well, if you thought game 3... No. Started circling around, and it's like, is he coming back for this season? It's like I don't think he is. He's progressing really well, yes, but he's not coming back at this season at all. He only came back for the All-Star game and reclaimed his 3-point title, but that is it. He is not playing in the series, and if we have, that's most likely. And then there was also circulations before going into Game 3 that Portland, was in the midst of getting this a big mega superstar in Jim Cronin. And rumors started speculating, with the whole, Milwaukee issue and Giannis. They haven't had any contract negotiations or talks whatsoever since the end of the regular season for the Bucks. It has not been looking great. That's when, stuff was circulating that, Portland might be in the market to get Giannis. And I'm like, I kind of scratched my head originally looking at it. I was like, yes, it could be cool, but we're also giving up most of our young core. And I wouldn't feel really comfortable in doing that. Because who would Portland give up in a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is turning, I think he is now 31 years old or 32, and yes, he can still average like 20 plus a game with rebounds and finish great at the rim. It is Giannis Antetokounmpo after all. But who would Portland give up? Would we give up Scoot Henderson and some other people, or Shannon Sharp, Tamani Kamara, and, Milwaukee's picks that were part of the Dame trade, or what? Honestly, if I was Portland, that wouldn't be the superstar I would go after, because you're gutting out most of your young core, and I wouldn't really be a big fan of that. I would personally go after another all-star who would be available during this upcoming free agency, because we'll have a lot of money in cap space for that. He's a penny pinch son of a bitch. He's even telling the... I'll show you playoff towel we got for game 3 when we attended. Here's our little crap-ass playoff towel that we got since Tom Dundon's a cheap ass. And I mean, you can tell, like, you can't even tell this is good quality fabric. No, people were waving these little guys, the little clappers that go, for the free throw shots. Well, if you thought that was bad, then I should show you another screenshot for people who attended Game 4 today at Moda. They had a different set of towels, and I mean, sure, it doesn't look as great as, as the other ones that we've had, but, what's his name? Well, I mean, they had a different set of playoff towels, but it wasn't that great. It was made of the same fabric, cheap as hell, all that. What I think is cool, though, is, Portland gear, which is, has been this like uprising, wonderful, store in Portland. Portland gear had, and there was a couple of fans. There was actually someone that sat in our row that was wearing their T-shirt that they had put out for Game 3. Where is it? Here it is. Can I just get like a picture, please? I'll just, I guess, share it this way. So during Game 3, people had lined up and gotten themselves these T-shirts to combat Tom Dundon's penny pinching ways and how he's been a cheap ass. I find it funny though. Moda later on still gave out free T-shirts at the game with, during the halftime performances and all that. So it's quite funny. But to see Portland Gear step up in a way to kind of accommodate the fans who aren't really happy with the new owner at this current moment in time as we're recording this, quite tells you something. But I mean, great for them, great for Portland fans to come and get them. Yeah, but there's just no way I would have woken up at 10:30 in the fucking morning just to grab a T-shirt. That absolutely was not going to happen. But yeah, great for them. No, yeah. That is true. Jimmy Grant, Drew Holiday, just to name a few. No, I think we're still going in a rebuilding phase for sure. It's only a matter of time to wonder what Portland will do in the long run for sure. Today, yeah. Which you weren't a big fan of. Huh. Wow. In Game 3. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, like this is such a Portland this is such a Portland thing to do. Like, look at this. At halftime, it was 58-41, and the win probability went up to over 90% heading into halftime. Coming out of halftime, this is where we kind of start dwindling. Uh-oh. Yeah, it just does look great. Yes, right here. Largest lead. So according to these stats here, San Antonio's largest lead was 21, Portland's was 19. And they came back like over, I guess, 19 or 21 points just to beat us. It's just absolutely horrible to see. He got cleared, surprisingly. He checked all the boxes and the league said, you're good to go. No, he went, maybe, I mean... No, Victor went 20 in the game entirely. Victor went 27, 9 for 17 on the floor, 1 for 4 from 3, and then shot as a free throw merchant, shot 8 for 8 on the field goal percentage. Had 11 rebounds and 3 assists. So, yeah, I mean, great comeback for him, but yeah, came back. Oh, had over 3. He just put up a big stinker. Is he the new Tony Snell of the Blazers? Yeah, I really came and bite back in the ass. Yeah. I mean, Tamani also didn't really have a good game either. 8 for 8, 2 for 6, 0 for 0 from field goal. Bounce back. I forgot, yeah. 17 points. Sure, 12. Not enough to win the game. And do our own studying on this. Definitely. But yeah, so now yeah, yes, 100%. Well, so now San Antonio leads the series 3-1. We'll see what happens then. Yes, 100%. Yes, I would say so. Lakers, Rockets. How do we feel? The Lakers are now 3-0 against the Houston Rockets. And we talked about this, while we were at Game 3 between San Antonio and Portland. And I had said that, the Lakers are kind of just blowing them out of the water, and that, the Rockets going after to get Kevin Durant this last offseason kind of is blowing up in their face as we are currently speaking. And while we're on the topic of Kevin Durant, it was reported earlier this morning that Kevin Durant's foot injury has seemed to be worsened and now is going to be sidelined 2 to 3 weeks. Possibly. 84, say. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Happens. 95% chance to take the series. But yeah, good for the Lakers. Lakers lead 3-0 against the Rockets, and I think it's fair to say that the Houston Rockets are going to be shut out of this series, and we wish them better luck next season. And our Eastern Conference. Let's start with the shocking one. The New York. Oh, sure. Yes, very surprising. That's very surprising. I didn't either. And I think is Cade still out at this moment in time, or has he been playing? I think he's been playing. Okay, he's been playing so far. I don't even know how. Like, what? There we go. Yeah. Imagine an alternative reality. They imagine an alternative reality where Orlando wins this series, and all Detroit fans are just in complete and utter shock. And it's like, I am too. I really want to see the Pistons go far. I really hope. About that. You think so? And Game 4 was really close. I watched a little bit of that and how close that was, and I was like, that's very close. You think so? I could see it going to a Game 7. Who do we see winning out of the whole entire series? The Cavs or the Raptors? Cavs. Yeah. New York and it's not this one. Okay. Let's move. Okay, so this one, Boston, Philadelphia, which they are currently getting done with Game 4 as we are recording their game belt to ass. So it's gonna be 3-1. I mean, it's just going to show that Boston is a team to definitely look out for as Celtics in 5. You heard it here first. You think so? Yeah. Yeah. At least this game particularly. The way I view it is you can't rule out Boston possibly going back to the finals. That's how I view it. The best series. Yeah. I mean, can we say that he is kind of he's like a Trae Young replacement almost as the villain for Atlanta. I don't say they're better than the Celtics, but I would say there's definitely a top three team in the East. No. Yeah. I need to get clapped by the Celtics. To the next. Yeah, I feel like that, New York is in a tough situation. Like, I do agree with what you're saying about not overlooking the Atlanta Hawks, that they're a scary team to look out for, and, of course, and all that. We love CJ. He has been balling them. He has been falling playoffs. Yeah, but I mean, I I would say New York still has it, and I think it's going to be probably knowing how this series has been swinging so far. I would say that this is going to probably be and end up being probably a best of 7. Yeah, 100%. And before you say, we do have breaking news for the Lakers Rockets game tonight. The Lakers have reported that Austin Reeves, unfortunately, is still going to be ruled out tonight for Game 4, but are optimistic that he will be available for Game 5. You think? Okay. Well, you have it here first from Oliver. Okay, well, you guys heard it first from Oliver's prediction. Thunder going to go back win the title. We'll have to wait and see. Atlanta, New York, best of 7 series now. So forth, so on. Well, we'll stay tuned for how the second round of the playoffs go. And yeah, thank you guys. Yes, definitely. By next week. Exactly. Well, guys, this was a great edition of the OD Sportscast. Again, sorry it took so long. We're all busy. I am your host, Dak, and we'll see you guys next time for another edition of the OD Sportscast. Your host, out.